Today, I'm giving you my brutally honest take on what I think about modern rom-coms, and along the way, I'll be answering these two questions. Are we even allowed to watch rom-coms as Christians? And what are some of the things that we should be looking out for to avoid the devil's traps? Because the truth is, rom-coms aren't just harmless entertainment. They can shape how we think about love and how we define relationships. And sometimes, what looks good on the surface may be the complete opposite of what God would consider good. So in this video, I want to take a closer look at not just the rom-coms themselves, but also the messages hidden inside of them that have caught my attention as a Christian who is very wary of how the media can influence us. Let's get into the video. So let's just answer the first question. Are we allowed to watch rom-coms as Christians? The answer is yes and no. Some rom-coms are fine to watch and can even be good to watch, while others are not okay. And this depends on what kind of messages the movie promotes and how it affects you personally. If a film includes a lot of nudity, sexual content, or scenes that cause you to lust, then it's something that we should avoid, especially if lust is something you struggle with. One of the main issues with modern rom-coms is that they don't just showcase a lot of sexual content. They glorify it. If you've been watching my videos for a while now, this is a topic that you should be pretty familiar with. Many secular rom-coms usually present lust as love. They make it look like physical attraction or sexual chemistry is the foundation of a loving relationship, when in reality, that's not the case at all. True love is selfless. It's not just all about fulfilling your own sexual desires, which is how films like to portray it these days. And when we constantly see love portrayed in this way all the time, it can slowly shape and influence how even we see love. Now, from my own personal observation, movies and shows from different countries will often reflect the common values in that respective country. So let's start off with talking about American rom-coms. In my opinion, I think rom-coms from America are the most disgusting compared to most, if not all, the other rom-coms from other countries. Obviously, this is a generalization because I'm sure there are some pretty good ones out there, but I don't think it's that hard to see how very inappropriate a lot of them tend to be. American rom-coms include way more lustful stuff, so things like nudity and sex scenes. Some examples of recent movies like this include Anyone But You and No Hard Feelings. And sometimes even the films that you would think are wholesome will still include lustful content. I watched the movie titled The Life List, which from memory is about a woman whose mother passes away, leaving her videos encouraging her to fulfill the things that she has on her bucket list. Now, the overall vibe of the movie was very chill and relaxing to watch, but then, what do you know? They just had to add in a sex scene later on in the movie, which, by the way, happened right after the guy broke up with his ex. And you see, this is exactly what I mean. This kind of sexual culture is so normalized in America that so many of their movies include it. But when you look at Asian rom-coms like Korean dramas or especially Chinese dramas, they're usually a lot more appropriate, especially with regards to lustful content. From a Christian perspective, that definitely makes Asian rom-coms a lot more appropriate to watch compared to what America is putting out these days. I watched the C-drama called When I Fly Towards You, which is from memory a story about high school friendships and love. And I think this might be the most appropriate secular teen show I've ever watched in my life. It's not perfect because I think it did have a tiny sexual reference in there, but compared to most other stuff, this was a very wholesome show. Now we have to remember, even though Asian rom-coms are generally more appropriate, that doesn't mean they're all automatically safe to watch. Some still have themes or moments that aren't exactly God-honoring. That's why it's really important to be discerning. You can't just assume that a show is fine to watch just because it's Asian, or that a movie is bad just because it's American. You still have to evaluate each one individually before and while you're watching. To be honest, a lot of rom-coms actually portray love in a good way for the most part. The main issue that I could come up with is really just when sexual chemistry or physical attraction are shown to be the most important in a romantic relationship. Obviously, there are other bad ways to portray love, which may happen in some films, but I would say it doesn't happen enough for me to criticize rom-coms as a whole. So even though the sexual portrayal of love is very common to the point that I'm able to make a whole video about it, apart from that, it's not too bad. So here are some of the good ways that rom-coms portray love. Number 1. When a character sacrifices themselves to save their partner. I'm sure we've seen this one quite a lot, and I don't think there's a better way to show what true love really looks like. Because Jesus himself said, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." So when you see the guy jumping in front of his girlfriend to take the bullet for her, or when he pushes her out of the way to take the hit from the car instead, then I would say that that's a great example of good biblical love. Number 2. When two characters don't care about the social status of the other. Again, this one is a pretty popular trope where we might see one character is rich and the other is poor, but they don't let this difference in social class be a reason to not get to know each other or let it impact their relationship in a negative way. I really don't like seeing when two characters are only getting married so that their family businesses can merge, because to me that relationship just seems so transactional and not one based on love. I mean, sure, they might be able to fall in love with each other later on, but I don't think that initial reason is a good one to start with. Number 3. When characters grow and change for the better. Very often, rom-coms will show characters becoming better people after meeting someone who brings out the best in them. Maybe they start off selfish or prideful, but throughout the relationship they learn patience and humility. And this is actually a good representation of how being in a loving relationship can refine a person. We usually hear this worldly advice of, if someone loves you, then they wouldn't want to change anything about you, which I actually really disagree with, because if someone really and truly does love you, then they would want the best for you, and sometimes that might involve them pointing out some of your flaws. So when a movie shows love as something that helps people grow and become better people, then I would say that that's a good thing. Number 4. Giving up things for the other person. As cliche as this one might sound, when the guy gives his girlfriend his jacket on a cold day, then that's an example of love portrayed in a good way. This is because he's giving up his own comfort for someone else, and this example becomes even stronger when he ends up becoming cold himself, but he tries to hide it or not to show it so that his girlfriend won't feel bad. Some other things that a person might give up as an act of love is their energy, their time and effort, and another cliche one is their favorite food. Maybe the couple is at a restaurant and the guy knows that his girlfriend really likes chicken wings, so he willingly gives her one of his chicken wings, even though they're his favorite food. All of this is what we would consider selfless love, which is truthful because true love is selfless. So here are some final points that I want to make. Avoid stuff that involves a lot of nudity and sexual content, regardless of whether or not you struggle with lust. I try to avoid these kinds of shows and movies because, well, they're just not good. Also, be careful not to get influenced by the worldly versions of love, and you can do this by being aware and knowing what true love really looks like. So, the way that God defines love. And if you know, then the next time you watch a rom-com, you can point out the moments when love is portrayed in a good way and truthfully, and the times when love is portrayed falsely or in a worldly sense. If you find the video valuable, remember to like and subscribe for more. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.